A funny little story that David and I were talking about the topic for this, and he said, I've got this event coming up, and it's going to be about competing and collaborating with Amazon. I was wondering if you could speak. And I said, great. He goes, and he says, and I said, great, I'd love to. And he said, great, well, which part do you want to talk about? And I said, oh, I thought it was both, competing and collaborating, right? Because it's the same, right? So everyone who's doing well on Amazon and who's collaborating with Amazon is also at the same time competing with Amazon. And those folks who are competing with Amazon, who are most successful, are also collaborating. And in that vein, I thought I'd start with a quote from someone that some of you may have heard of, from John F. Kennedy. So the Chinese use two brush strokes to write the word crisis. One that stands for danger and the other that stands for opportunity. In a crisis, be aware of the danger, but recognize the opportunity. And I thought that this was the perfect quote to use for this event, right? Competing and collaborating, two sides of the same coin. And so when you think about what it takes to build a business, first, actually, very quickly, I started at Amazon in 1999 and stayed there for 7.5 years. Does anyone know the average tenure of an Amazonian? Anyone want to guess? Less than. About like 19 months, give or take. So 7.5 years is an eternity. I will say thank you to Martin, though, because I kept trying to figure out why the dip in 07. That's the year I left. So I built Marketplace Ignition. We are, or were until we were acquired, the largest strategy consultancy helping brands work with Amazon. In fact, we've worked with over 400 brands. And inside my company, we have over 140 years of inside Amazon experience. Now, what really matters is not experience, believe it or not. What really matters, I'm really proud of that stat, but what really matters is your approach. Amazon is entirely different. The most common thing I hear from our clients is, Amazon's not a very good partner. Amazon is not your partner. Amazon, the most successful clients working and selling on Amazon understand that it's an algorithm. It's a channel. And those that are winning understand the channel and understand what's important to sell on the company, to sell well on Amazon and partner well with them. Again, what wins is what we call operational marketing. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what it takes to win on Amazon and why it's such a different channel. So I'll skip that. So this is really the framework to win on Amazon. And what's really important about this, I don't know if I have a laser, so I'm going to like wave and point vaguely. But so much of the way when you go to market on so many traditional channels is this top left little tiny gray thing, creative media optimization. You start with what inspires people to enjoy my product? What inspires people to buy the product? Amazon doesn't start there at all. In fact, Amazon starts all the way down here, and you read this chart from the bottom up. So Amazon starts really with having the right team in place, people who understand assortment, supply chain, operational marketing. And what I mean by operational marketing is, what is the product that I'm trying to buy? How do I get it on the shelf? And how do I ensure it's in stock? So that thing that says, do you want it today? Order within the next 11 hours and you'll get it today. That verbiage is so important on Amazon that it can make like a 50% swing difference. If you don't have the right product in the way people want to buy it, available to ship today for arrival tomorrow, it really, most of the other stuff doesn't matter. And then we get to earned media and paid media. If I haven't set the product up so people can find it, and if I haven't set it up and paid to ensure that I'm in front of my competitors, and that's a lot of what you heard Martin talking about when he talks about why so many dollars are moving to Amazon. And then if I don't have the best practices to ensure I'm always thinking about renewing and being sure to be ready, okay, great, now it's New Year, New You, now it's holiday, now it's, then all of this changes every single time the store loads, every single time a search page loads. And that's why creative comes in all the way here. If the product is in stock, it doesn't matter how great your creative is. So I'll show this to you in practice in a minute. That triangle is really important. I have a couple of things I wanted to show you first that give you an understanding and set the stage for how to think like an Amazonian, right? If you want to win, you have to operate like they do. In fact, it's almost fundamental. The largest companies doing the most business, we're talking 500 to $1 billion or more into Amazon, have whole teams that are set up and motivated the way Amazon motivates their teams. And that's a very specific way. So what I want to do is I want to start with something that was old when I got to Amazon in '99. And this is, you can all Google this. This is called the Jeff Bezos napkin diagram. Go on to Google. They call it internally the virtuous cycle. But those of you that say, oh, Amazon's so unpredictable, I just don't know what they're going to do next, almost all of it goes to this. So if you say, why are there 1,000 bottles of conditioner? Why are there 10,000 of Birkenstock? Each of those are all here. So if you see here, that you could start at any point, but I'm going to start here. They believe that adding one more variant of hand cream enhances the customer experience. Someone wants that thing. And by enhancing the customer experience, you'll start telling your friends, why would you go anywhere else? You should go to Amazon. You go there, it adds more people, that brings more sellers and brands, and that in turn expands the circle, lower cost structure, lower prices, start over. Now, how do you translate that to think like an Amazonian? So if you look here, I talked about, this is a translation of how the biggest brands are thinking about how to translate that into action, right? So, and third-party sellers as well, which you heard some before from Bloomberg. So think about this. Amazon cares most about the customer experience. They start with the customer and work backwards. In fact, they do things that many of us think are irrational, things that are margin negative, because it helps the customer experience, and they're basically making a down payment for the future. So let's say our problem is, oh, I don't know, conversion. So the most important thing to start with conversion, improve the content on the page, enhance the photos, add a video, answer your Q&A. Keep doing that, you'll grow your cycle. If our problem is discovery, do we have the right keywords in place? Do we have the right titles? Do we have the right bullets? I know a lot of this looks really fundamental, but it's actually incredibly important. Amazon, believe it or not, winning on Amazon is really not about having the right campaign. It's about having the fundamentals and getting your operations right. This works every single time. And then also having a team that understands and works with Amazon on their language. So we had an example where a customer, a client of ours that was one of the largest knife sellers in the world, they were really frustrated with Amazon. They kept calling and saying, you've got to kick all these illegitimate sellers of our product off. And Amazon wouldn't return their call because Amazon doesn't care about that, but they do care about their customers. So we did a test buy of a bunch of their competitive product, and we found out that they were shipping them with cheap, I'm going to try and say this, cheap sheaths. Try and say that 3 times fast. So they kept doing that, and what we found was when we slammed them down, the tip of the knife went through the end. And if in a package that could happen, someone could have cut their hand opening the box. So we wrote to Amazon's product safety, and we worked through product safety, and they were all pulled down, and Amazon blocked the third-party sellers from selling the brand because it was clear that this represented a safety and compliance issue. So when you think about that, that's a great example. Amazon does not care that illegitimate distributors of your product are selling your product. That's your job to police your channel, but they do care about customer safety. And so you need to think about, and I highly recommend if you want to understand this better, there's 2 great books out there. The Everything Store is about the history of Amazon, and there's a book out there that a friend of mine wrote that I worked at Amazon with called The Amazon Way that helps you understand the leadership principles. And as you build your team and think about working with Amazon, understanding how they motivate their own teams helps you get what you want done right. Have backbone, disagree, and commit. Constantly learn and be curious. Bias for action. Customer obsession is one for a reason. So what I thought I would do, and I've been lucky enough to be enjoying your country for 2 days, and I've shown this example a few times, and it seems really like everyone gets it. How many of you drink tea? Oh, look at all those hands. In the US, there'd be like 5 hands. All right, so I chose this example, and I have been showing it again and again, because it's a great example that will help you all understand, and a product that seems super reasonable to the British, which is an example of how to put all this together. So I picked a product that called the Mr. T Tea Infuser. How many of you have seen this before? I actually showed it to someone yesterday who had one. Do you have one? You have one. He's cute, right? Can you tell how big it is from here? Does this seem like it seems like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, right? He's gonna stomp all over the street. So this is a thing that's really cute, made of food-safe rubber that you put loose tea in his pants, and he leaks brown liquid into your tea, and it's delicious, right? Into your hot water. Sounds delicious, right? Well, this is an example of a poorly set up page on Amazon that is not in line with what works on Amazon. So if you look here, this is set up in a way that isn't appetizing, molded from food-safe soft silicone rubber, perches on your tea. It doesn't even tell you 3.25 by 1.75. What, meters? Is this thing huge? Right? So now, look, what we did here, and I'm going to try and be brief because I normally get an hour and I have 15 minutes, so maybe I'll get invited back. But so when you look here, look at the difference. So over here, someone doesn't even know they want this thing, and we're only selling it as a set of 1, 2, 3, or 4. But over here, if you look, we've now taken and completely refactored. If you remember, the first step is the assortment. What do people want to buy? If I've gone to all the trouble to get someone to this page, let's see what else they might want to buy. These are the other variants of this. This one looks like a sinking ship that floats hot tea in it. This one looks like a sunken tea diver. So these are really cute other variants. It's a cute gift, but how will someone find it? By combining these, we combine the traffic, combine the sales rank, and make the product more visible. But we also give someone another alternative to convert, 5 other alternatives to convert. And look at the difference in copy. Everything you see here in red is a term that we pulled out of a term that needed to be answered based on mining user-generated feedback, comments, questions, or what we were seeing as stoppers for what people looked at and didn't buy competitive product. Toss some tea into his BPA-free silicone rubber trousers. Mr. T is the ideal tea time companion and a great listener. He perches securely on the rim of your teacup, so he fits all sizes of mugs, brews loose tea. So if you look here, BPA-free, fits all sizes of mugs, loose tea. By the way, Americans don't even know what an infuser is. They call this a strainer. So here, third bullet, add fun to your tea making with reusable infusers and strainers. It gives you a completely different way to concept the same product, but what you're not seeing is there's a huge amount of science behind this. This is an operational exercise, an assortment exercise, a keyword exercise, and you're not even seeing, because I can't show on the same page, the paid search and promotional operations that connect here, but what you can see is it worked. #1 bestseller rank badge, which is all you're going for. 846 customer reviews, 17 answered questions. I'm going to show and blow through just a couple other things because what I want to do is talk about some of the more innovative things that are happening right now, and I know I'm probably running short on time. If there was a red light, I'm sure it'd be going off. So one of the things I wanted to quickly talk about is a client of ours, Reynolds. I know that they're not as big here, but this company owns 60% share in the United States of aluminum foil. Sorry, we call it aluminum foil. And they also make parchment paper, and they wanted to relaunch this thing, which was a huge innovation, believe it or not, which is parchment paper pre-cut to the size of a cookie sheet. So I know that sounds like it's not that innovative, but if you bake at all, you know that you're always sitting there cutting these things down to size, right? It's not that innovative, except it's super innovative. And launching something like this is actually really complex on Amazon. Amazon is a really hard place to launch something people don't know they need. It's very, very targeted. Sorry, I should have said this at the beginning. The way people shop Amazon is what we call spear phishing. So they enter in a term and they go straight to the product. That's very different than traditional shopping, which is what we call net phishing, where they browse and they pick items along the way and they went for 6 items, but they get 10. Because they're spear phishing on Amazon, selling someone something they don't know they need is supremely difficult. And so you have to figure out copy, keywords, and designs that explain to people what else they need. I'm going to spin through. I took out some of the other slides here just for an interest of time. But the results here, and you'll see here, paid search sales by doing what we did, by doing it the way we just said, was 7 times, 3 times return on ad spend. And get this, Amazon, and this gets back to why I was asking the gentleman from Bloomberg, 1/3 the average cost per 1,000 of Google ads. Amazon ads are so much further down the funnel, and they're so much closer to the transaction that you're not looking for attribution. You're not looking to decide, did the ad work or not? You're actually all the way down where they're making the purchase. The kind of terms that we see are terms around like parchment sheets for baking, not how do I use a parchment sheet. Because you're so much further down, you can spend more. But in this case, our cost was so much lower, we really were able to spend. We got 7 times the sales of Google. I'm going to show you one other quick thing. One of the things that I just want to talk about is the science of images on Amazon. So it's really easy to think that an image on Amazon is an image of your product. But an image is a mini ad. And the most advanced sellers on Amazon, and you could see an example of a client here, are using images to tell a story. An image is a chance to actually talk about your product. Only the first image has to be the product on the white background. But look here, the first one, what it does. The second one, how to use it. The third one, is it for front loaders? Is it for top loaders? Do I use it with laundry detergent? Do I use it instead of? And then finally here, oh, trust. Oh, it's good housekeeping. Oh, it's going to be good. And you can see this image where this is a video that explains how it works. And when you see here, the best and highest, most advanced sellers are adding in different, can I get it in sheets? Can I get it in liquid? How do I use it? What are the other ways? And what will it do? And if you see here in mobile, where more than 50% of search is happening, you could see here the images show instead of the bullets, which is even more important. I'm going to skip some of this because I just want to show one last thing because I'm sure I'm way over. A lot of people, there have been some great quotes from Bezos, but I want to make sure you all see this. Your margin is my opportunity. So a lot of people see that and don't know what it was referring to, but I want you to think about where the biggest changes are happening. Amazon Global. Amazon is really facilitating this disintermediation of the import-export value chain. If you go on there and look up brands like Anchor or MSK or other brands, they're brands that only exist on Amazon. Amazon has created a situation where people who were formerly just able to make money by arbitraging product, people who are just reselling other people's products, there is a lot lower amount of value and opportunity there for those people. Amazon also, one other thing that I want to, if I'm going to pull out one quote because we're so late, the best customer service is if customer doesn't need to call you, doesn't need to talk to you, it just works. Those of you that have worked with Amazon have heard Amazon's theory of hands off the wheel. They are consistently rolling out things that seem counter to what you would expect. They are turning away merchandising dollars because in order to implement or get them, they have to have a phone call or a relationship. They are specifically focused on executing in exchange for executing in a way that relies on systems instead of people. I'm going to skip that and leave you guys with a quote from Jeff Bezos that was, again, is about 20 years old. It's impossible to imagine a future 10 years from now where a customer comes up and says, Jeff, I love Amazon. I just wish the prices were a little higher, you'd deliver a little more slowly. Thank you.